fantasize. The moments human else unrealized.
Alright everybody, welcome to the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. I'm here today with a very special guest, the great and powerful, the machine, Justin Osborn. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I just got done training a client. Yeah, things are good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you very much for taking the time. You know, I know you've got a busy schedule now out there with all the moves that you've been having in your life, taking on some new projects. So I appreciate you taking the time today.
I appreciate you for having me. It's been this last month has been kind of a wild ride, so to speak. But I've been enjoying every second of it.
Now, Justin, since the last time that we've sat down together, you've had some pretty big changes within your personal as well as your professional life. Why don't you talk to us? Just let everybody know what's been going on for you.
So, my last fight didn't go the way I was expecting it. I lost my last fight by split decision. After that, I was already getting ready to make a move out here in Las Vegas. So I thought, what better time to do it than now. And after that last fight, I packed up my stuff that next week and moved all the way across the country. And then, right when I touched down here in Vegas, I got to meet with John Wood face to face for the first time, the head coach at Syndicate MMA, and it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but we instantly kind of gelled. So
that's good.
And any fighter can just tell you that whichever coach they're with, I mean, they know if it's the right fit or not. And, I can say with 100% certainty, with 100% confidence that Syndicate Mixed Martial Arts is going to be my home for the foreseeable future.
That's good. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you found a new home out there, that you've settled in nicely, that it's getting comfortable for you there for that side of things. Just because that's a huge stress factor in anybody's life, much less someone who is trying to fight for a living.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it out here in Vegas. The traffic isn't. It's not quite I-25 levels, so. But there is traffic, but it's not terrible. And I actually live like 4 minutes away from the gym, so the only traffic I really experience is like my 20-minute drive to work, which isn't which honestly is not terrible at all. So, but it's been a really good move. I've met a lot of great people here so far, and the future's only looking bright from here.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that, buddy. So Justin, you mentioned being out there in moving from Bama to Vegas out at Syndicate. What has that been like in terms of the transition just for your day to day with and it's not too by any means slight where you were before, but there's just obviously more bodies to train with on a regular basis. How does having that switch up of looks all the time benefit you?
It's been a huge benefit. I train at Syndicate during the daytime and at nighttime, so there's different people that come in during the day and at night. So it's been a pretty big difference maker. There's definitely more guys like that are around my size around here, and just more guys that fight MMA around here. It's not that like I love training with jiu-jitsu guys and everything, but like when you're training around, and this is something I experienced while I was at Factory X, when you're training around MMA fighters, like, and mostly like MMA fighters, and then you're training with specialists here and there, it's definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely better because you're getting put into those MMA specific situations all the time, and the way that like MMA fighters grapple versus the way jiu-jitsu guys grapple, almost completely different. So it's been great. What I also like is the coaches here are really Neil Melanson and John Wood, AJ Matthews, the guys around here. We're really not looking to add anything to my game anymore. For right now, you know, we're just, what we're trying to do is just take the tools that I already have and sharpen those up even more. Because I think for the last couple of years I've been adding more and more tools. I've been just constantly adding. But now it's like, okay, I gotta kind of settle in a little bit and just focus on doing those. You know, it might be the same repetitive stuff over and over again, but it's doing those little things that are going to make the biggest differences.
Understandable, very understandable there. You know, shout out to Factory X, X on the chest. This is going to be one of the last few podcast episodes recorded in the old studio before everything is up and running in the new studio down there inside of Factory X in Inglewood. So this is
oh man, well, next time I'm in Colorado, I'll definitely have to check out the new studio.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm so excited for the opportunity. You know, thank you, Coach Mark and Jara, for the opportunity. It's very humbling to have gotten to this point to where that's a reality. You know, it's a blessing every day to be able to work with the people that I do, and I just couldn't be more excited to take on this next chapter and just kick everything up to the next level.
Yeah, it's really incredible seeing what you've been able to do, and I was telling you the other day, just the way you've built your podcast from the ground up it's really inspiring. So, and just to anybody that's out there doing great content creation like Jordan is, you know, keep it up, you know, because you never know when and you never know who could give you that opportunity.
Absolutely. You know, and the thing is, and I've said this from day one, it's not about having to have some sort of phenomenal skill or gift or talent or anything along those lines. It's about having an unbreakable will. It's about having the discipline, the dedication, and the passion for your craft and what you do to just continue to get better and improve every single day. You know, if you do really love what you do and you take the time to work on that craft, then you will eventually through time develop skills. And within a consistent, persistent, and diligent effort, the quality will begin to improve. It's something that anybody can do in anything out there. So I'm not special by any means. I've just dedicated myself to this project and I've worked my ass off to get to this point. But that being said, I'm not going to rest on that. I'm going to continue to work just as hard, if not harder, to continue to build this platform, as well as just the space that the fighters who and the other people out there in the media, you know, the music artists, shout out to Lion League Music, Suave, you know, for everybody that I hope that it can only continue to improve and bring more value for as many people as possible. And, you know, like I say, the work is just beginning. It's been a lot of hard work to this point, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a lot more coming.
Yeah, that goes for about anything that you that it could be any field. You know, if you have an unbreakable will and the willingness to sacrifice your time and just your time and gosh, wow.
Yeah, your time, your energy, your resources.
Like losing track of like what I'm thinking. Like, so you know, you have to be able to sacrifice your time and then just kind of, you know, those simple, you know, pleasures in life. Like, for instance, like, you know, I've been here in Vegas for about a month, and I only went to the Strip once, and that was to do an interview with James Lynch.
Shout out to James Lynch.
That was it.
Right.
Like, and you, I see the videos that you do and everything, and like all that editing and stuff. And I've done a little bit of editing, like with Twitch, but not quite to the level that you've been doing it. And it takes time, it takes effort, and also too, not just with your podcast, man, but you've been doing you've lost quite a bit of weight and everything, and now you're reaching your fitness goals as well, which, I mean, like I said, takes exactly what we were just talking about, an unbreakable will, you know, willingness to sacrifice.
Oh yeah, you know, it's just, you know, the thing is, Justin, when you have great friends, when you have a great circle around you, it makes it, you know, I don't want to say it makes it easy, but it makes it a lot more attainable, if you will, to achieve positive results in what you're doing. Because the thing is I do have a competitive drive and a competitive spirit as a former athlete myself, and then taking that athlete mentality and just the work ethic, taking that into this. But, you know, that being said, I see the energy that comes from you guys. I see what you're putting out there in practice, in your workouts, all this sort of thing. And from the beginning, this has never been about me. It's been about showcasing what is out there in whatever capacity it is. You know, like I say, I've worked with musicians, DJs, producers, obviously a lot of MMA fighters, but at the same time, trainers, coaches. The goal is to give the platform to all of you guys. I see the energy that you guys bring to what you do, and so it's only right that I match that. It's only right that when what you do is showcased, has the absolute best effort that it can possibly have, because you deserve it. That's the approach that I take.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Always actions always speak louder than words, and the way you carry yourself, by everything you said is the way you carry yourself. And I always like to keep people around me that are always around me to build me up and uplift me, and also be willing to be brutally honest with me, and having people like you around, people like you involved in my life, and I still consider everybody from Factory X to be good friends and everything. I mean, I didn't spend too much time around there, but I learned a lot of life-changing stuff, kind of like what I wanted out of life. And that's kind of what led me out here to Vegas, was to find a little bit more of a closer circle, if you will, because I am on the autism spectrum, and this is something that Coach Mark and I talked about before I left. I was like, I just want to find kind of people around me that understand that a little bit better. Not that he didn't understand, but it's hard to explain to people. So I've been able to find, I have a really good friend here. Her name's Serena Dace, she's a pro fighter on the autism spectrum as well. So it's kind of like with me coming to Syndicate, kind of everybody already kind of understood like what it was like and everything, and they've been able to kind of take me in with open arms. And it's kind of funny because yesterday I was hitting pads with Coach Wood, and I was going through this drill, and I have this thing with like mirrors. I don't really like looking at myself in the mirror. It doesn't make me very comfortable. So he's like, yeah, man, if you don't feel comfortable, looking in the mirror or anything while you're doing this drill, that's fine. Don't do it. You don't have to, if that makes sense. So just like little things like that he's had a lot of experience with fighters on the autism spectrum. So it's kind of nice, there's still things that I do have to communicate with them, obviously, but it's like there's certain things with autistic people that you don't have, that it's really hard to express.
Nonverbal cues, basically.
It's hard to express the learning process that we go through and everything. So for Coach Wood, he already knew kind of how I process information. So it's been great. And like I said, I've met great people here that have totally embraced me for who I am, but also understand the ways I learn are different from the way other people learn.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. That's a huge factor, for you, obviously, and I'm glad that you found someone that can help you feel the most comfortable to continue to work and propel yourself forward. But
yeah, it's been great, and like I said, it's for quite a bit of time I felt like I was kind of drifting along through life, couldn't quite find a home, couldn't quite find a place to live that I was like, oh, this is where I want to be. I was kind of when I came to Factory X and everything, I was kind of searching for that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's a great place. Like Denver, Colorado is awesome. And Factory X is one of the best fight gyms out there. And, Coach Mark Montoya is one of the best coaches out there. But I was still kind of, like I said, trying to find my home. And so now it's kind of nice to not have that. It's kind of nice not having that feeling of like being a vagabond and being able to just settle in, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Now, Justin, we've also seen some pretty crazy things happen lately within the MMA world. Just to talk about some current events there. What's your thoughts on the TJ news?
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. Is it DJ Khaled or it's DJ Khaled that goes another one, right?
Yeah, DJ Khaled. Yeah.
Yeah. Cue that soundbite, man. Holy shit! I was pretty honestly. I was not shocked that TJ tested positive because of the training lab's reputation and everything. Like Sam Calavita, he has all of his supplements tested and everything. So all this stuff is supposed to be clean. So it's very disappointing because TJ Dillashaw has been one of my favorite fighters to watch, and
I like watching TJ, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and go with the "I told you so" on this one. That's just me. I've been on record for a long time. Because and this is the where and this is, you have some breadth of experience in this. As a trainer, I used to work in gyms. My old man is an old school ironhead. I've been around gyms my entire life. I've been around guys who have been on gear my entire life. TJ has bitch tits. He has had them for a while. So basically, for someone who at 135 or then down to 125 pounds, who is otherwise as just absolutely ripped and shredded as he is, basically, he's under 5% body fat when he's at fight time. But for him to have that much, little under nipple fatty tissue, that that gynecomastia type of look, that only comes from one thing. And I've said that for years now. That I would not be surprised that if any time TJ popped hot. Now, I do recognize that we don't know what the substance was. They haven't identified that yet. But to me, the immediate relinquishment of the belt is basically an admission of guilt.
Yeah, that's how I feel too about it. Like if you were innocent, you'd be keeping the belt. Like, if it was me and I was innocent, I'd be like, you guys are gonna have to rip this belt off my damn waist.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, if you're innocent and someone is accusing you as a champion of cheating, and to the point to where your championship, your legacy holder, is in jeopardy, and you just that willingly give it up. Now, is this a situation of, especially because he only got the 1-year suspension, is he playing ball the way, allegedly that John Jones did now? Because TJ has already basically, he's relished in the role of being the snake. He wore a snake t-shirt to the second Cody fight.
He's got a snake tattoo.
That's something that we have to take a look at here. And like I said, I like TJ. I'm a fan of TJ. I met TJ out in Oklahoma at Bellator when Juan Archuleta fought. It's just something that's sad in that regard that, now there's a championship that is in limbo, and you question every time someone who is a champion that pops hot, you have to question how long. How long has he been on?
That's so true.
And especially in my case, I've been calling it for a long time, stating that he's looked that way. I don't know. It's a tough one to call, especially, we got to be careful with our judgment, obviously, until we find out what the substance was. Because it could have been as simple as a diuretic. But
yeah, because that weight cut was like, I saw some photos of his weight cut down to 25, and I was like, how the hell is this guy making weight? And how the hell is he the first one to the scale? Like, it's crazy, but obviously, with everything that like Sam Calavita has done with the training lab in terms, because I've looked at a lot of his theories, and a lot of his stuff, like through reading on YouTube and everything. And the guy is a wizard with numbers. Like he can like it's hard to explain to somebody that doesn't have like an exercise science degree, but like he's basically like able to plug like whatever numbers a person needs for their nutrition or whatever based on their day-to-day load, and then he can change their program like on the fly, their exercise program on the fly based on what happened in their day-to-day, and just by crunching some numbers in. So I really like I've really been a big fan of the training lab and what they do and the stuff that they're putting out there. But I really hope it's not like, a tainted supplement or whatever, blah blah blah. that kind of excuse, because TJ even said on Joe Rogan's podcast that Sam Calavita makes his own supplements and gets them all tested, or he administers them to his clients. So I really hope that that's not the case. Like we'll have to see. We'll have to see though, man. But it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely disappointing. And I mean, this sport is just crazy sometimes. But I saw last night that it's going to be Marlon Moraes versus Henry Cejudo for the bantamweight title. But which I'm a fan of that fight, But I kind of would have rather see Henry defend 125 and have Marlon fight Pedro Munoz. But we are in the entertainment era of MMA, so they gotta make the matchups that are going to get the biggest splash and pull in the most, or whatever they think is going to pull in the most numbers.
Exactly. And the thing is, they've already put that out there, or gave that teaser to some of the people for Henry as as the opportunity for becoming a champ, or we probably shouldn't say champ because Conor trademarked that, but becoming a double champ. But so they've already put that idea out there, and that idea went eerily cold for a little bit after they talked about having the rematch and having it be for another belt. But then the discussions got really cold. And so now, as it plays out, well, there's a reason why it went cold, is because TJ popped. But with that being said, they've already started to play up the angle in that regard of Henry trying to become one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time, former Olympic gold medalist, UFC world champion, so on and so forth. That's if you will, that's what they've already kind of started to build. Although you can make the argument that hey, with TJ out, that's really not the same storyline. But I feel like the UFC is trying to play, as well as ESPN. Let's not forget them in the mix.
Yeah.
They're trying to identify some people, or they're trying to take these figures that the common fan would recognize or know. Henry Cejudo obviously is a very well-known international figure. They're going to try to give him some rub and some platform. For years in Colorado Springs, along one of the highways, there was a giant mural that was painted of Henry Cejudo close to the Olympic Training Center. So that's someone that has had a lot of public exposure out there for within a niche market, if you will, as far as being a wrestler and all that. But nonetheless, there's something to be said, or something that people gravitate to, for someone who once was a gold medalist representing this country. There's a lot of in terms of sport, nationalist pride when it comes to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking the matchup at all. I mean, I like the matchup a lot. I think it's gonna be a pretty good fight. It's just.
And I think that the next most qualified guy would have been, I think that if you're talking the top two 35ers outside of TJ and then Henry bumping up, is definitely Moraes is one of them. And I think that it's hard to make the argument against Pedro Munoz, but I don't know if the UFC is ready just yet to, this is where the, kind of the shitty end of the politics of the business goes. But how many people out there have a clue, if I were to say Pedro Munoz, who he is, outside of the hardcore fans?
I'm not complaining at all. It's just, the days of MMA being like a meritocracy, it's been long gone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, fighters have to gotta start realizing that, and they gotta start making the plans beforehand to try to tell their story the best that they can. Now, I'm not the best. I'm certainly not the best at this. It's something I kind of suck at, to be quite frank. But it's because still can't get a title shot at flyweight, which, there's, like, the writing is on the wall for the men's flyweight division in the UFC, from what it seems. So that's definitely a shitty deal. I feel that it's not great because of the fact that you got all these flyweights that are just, they're fighting and they're not. It's like, okay, well, am I going to get to a title shot, or are they going to close the division and maybe move to 35?
And that's the terrible thing.
That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, and it's awful because, the UFC was their own worst enemy for the flyweight division in terms of where they placed. How come? Why was it? Simple, like every time you got a Fox Fight Night or something like that. Well, that was where you had Mighty Mouse, or then any time that there was a flyweight fight, those were buried on the prelims or on the Fight Pass prelims. You have guys like Joe Benavidez, who on the UFC Chicago card, the last time that happened last year, he was on the prelims and he was the number one contender at that point when he fought Sergio Pettis. And then you would have guys like Sergio Pettis being buried on those undercards. You have a lot of talent down there, and then shout out to Raw Dog Brandon Royval. He just got announced for the main event for LFA out here in Vail in about a month, but he's fighting a former UFC contender, or I should say prospect, Joby Sanchez. So there's a lot of very high level 125 fighters out there. Sid Bice, another one of them. Nate Smith this last weekend out at St. Patty's Beatdown for Midwest Championship fighting looked absolutely phenomenal. To take away a division where there is just supreme athletes, it's a travesty. It's a travesty.
Yeah.
And the UFC did their own.
It's crazy because now it's like if I'm just gonna play a scenario where if I was a flyweight fighter, what am I gonna do? It's like, well, some very. If you're like a true flyweight, so like 125 is your optimal weight class, right? Very few of those guys are going to be able to go up and really compete at a world championship level at bantamweight. Does that make sense?
Right.
They may be able to get to the UFC as a bantamweight, but maybe not get to a world championship level at bantamweight just because of sheer size, right?
Exactly.
So, if you're a flyweight now, do you look at one championship as is it a viable option for you? And to be honest, I don't really know because I don't know if they're going to be willing to be flying guys in to Asia for every one of their cards.
No, I understand that. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, because a lot of their money comes from just venture capitalism. So it's just a bunch of guys investing money into one. They haven't really been making a lot of money on their ticket sales or anything like that, but they just keep getting investors, and people just keep investing, which is great. I want to see one championship succeed, but if you're a flyweight fighter, here's the thing. You know that the UFC is a for sure thing. You know that that's a tightly run ship, and everything. And not to say that one isn't, but if you do some digging into the way that one championship does business, you might raise an eyebrow or two. And that's all I'll say about that.
No need to address the elephant in the room on that one. We've already talked about that at length on this episode. But, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know I know what you're talking about.
Which is my tinfoil hat reason of why I think Sage Northcutt went there.
The trade that they were able to pull off a trade with Ben Askren and Mighty Mouse, because I don't know about you, but that Ben Askren fight versus Robbie Lawler was
Oh, I agree. That was a definite roller coaster ride, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Ben can continue to do. They just announced that Robbie and Ben's teammate Tyron are running it back from from when Tyron took the title from Robbie. That was one of the most incredible changes of the guard that we've seen. Because the Ruthless One is a legend. I don't give a goddamn what anybody says. Robbie Lawler is a legend in this game. That guy has been around for basically 20 years now and has been fighting at one of the highest levels. And, hey, Tyron showed why Tyron in that fight is one of the greatest welterweights of all time. He turned the lights out on Robbie.
And Robbie Lawler, in my opinion, those two title defenses he had were some of the best fights ever. I think my favorite fight of all time is Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald too.
Yeah, that second fight, oh my God.
It's the best fight ever, hands down.
The stare down in between rounds, Robbie after the fight just roaring, having his fucking lips sitting there looking like someone just took a zipper and unzipped it. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about that fight. One of my favorites of all time right now. Rory just... Not even that Rory got the lights turned out. Rory's nose was just pounded so flat.
The fifth round, he lost the fight. All the judges had Rory McDonald up 3 rounds to 1. Getting into that 5th round. So, to think of, it was just crazy. And Rory McDonald's nose is, I've said it for a while now since he's been at Bellator. Rory McDonald has not been the same since that fight. His nose has gotten pretty much shattered in every one of his fights since then.
That's true. He's definitely just that was a lot of damage in that fight. But just we've got to start to tie this thing up here. Is there any last message or word that you want to get out to the people?
Any last message? I guess I would just say, if you are out there and if you are on the autism spectrum and you always feel yourself kind of wandering out there, just try to seek out people that understand. I think that would be the biggest one. Try to seek out people who can better understand you and I think the biggest thing is you're not the only one. You can always if you're ever having troubles, you can always reach out to me. You can always DM me on this, or a parent of a child on the autism spectrum. You can always reach out to me. I'm always here because it's a long, hard road to get. It's a long, hard road from not speaking till the age of 5 until where I am now. So I wish when I was a kid that there would have been people that were like me around. So, just try to find people, even if you're not on the autism spectrum, try to find that circle of people around you that can uplift you. Other than that, you can follow me at Justin the Machine, let's see here, it's Justin_the_Machine MMA on Instagram, Justin_the Machine on Twitch, and the Machine MMA on Twitter.
Awesome, my brother. Well, thank you very much again, like I say, for taking the time to join us this morning and in the midst of your busy day out there in Las Vegas. Shout out to Syndicate MMA out there as well. All of your teammates, coaches, training partners, everybody out there. I know Lance is out there with you a lot of times too as well. Shout out to Iridium Sports. I just want to say one last quick shout out to Lion League Music as well as to Beyond Bridges. Thank you guys for everything that you've done for us all along the way. This is Jordan Kurtz with Comments from the Peanut Gallery. Give us a follow on Instagram at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. Check out the website www.cftpg.com. Have a great day, folks.